For the first time, though, are on the blue side for game one of this best of three. So far, they've only played on the red side. As you say, went 2-0 and 0-2. We'll see Vitality getting rid of the Rumble. They're not ready. They are not ready, and the Jakes are taken away by Fnatic.
They're not ready to Rumble. Jake's going to be taken off the board, as you highlighted, with the Taliyah. I think Taliyah is such a strong pick in the current version of the game, which is 25.07. Kalista going to be joining the ban table. Varus, of course, still up and available. Many of the power junglers, the Razork, had a lot of dominance on in winter, but have been target banned away from him this split, are both open. Maokai and Vi were two of the champions that he often defaulted to in winter that he found a lot of success on. Skarner is up as well, so a lot of the mainstay junglers seem to be very present.
It does feel like Vitality just go Varus here, you give over one of the junglers, and then you take the other one afterwards. Here, by taking the Maokai, you give over Vi plus Varus. Obviously, Vi debatably strong. We do see her banned out quite a lot, but sometimes she can be a little bit too eager to get onto that back line. Razork very comfortable on the champion.
I think it's a question of what AD carry do they want, because typically you'd see the Kai'Sa paired alongside the Vi for Fnatic specifically. So if they want to prioritize Varus, I wouldn't be surprised to see them lean away from the Vi and instead maybe just go for a tank v tank matchup. Oh, there's the cheeky hover.
Nah, it's just a hover.
It's just a hover.
Just because Canyon did it earlier today doesn't mean Razork's going to get to play the champion that he loves to play in solo queue.
The Skarner.
54 games over the last 3 weeks or something. Skarner much more likely here for Fnatic.
There you can see he's goading the crowd, and yeah.
Get goaded. Can't attack me, but you must attack each turn if able.
That's oddly specific.
Oh, yes. Viktor, the next pick alongside Gnar, so a safe, strong top side overall for Vitality. Viktor, slightly lower mobility than most players, most picks in the mid lane, but does have good long-range wave clear and can poke out people in those lanes as well. Alongside the Varus and the Skarner, Gwen will be the final pick for Fnatic. It's the first time we've seen Oscarinin on that this split.
Look like it, but we know that he's happy to play the carries when he gets his hands on them. Right now, I really like what Fnatic have drafted. They have a winning bot side of the matchup. They have fairly solid engage coming through from the Skarner. Now champions like Rel and Leona rise in priority a lot. I wonder if Vitality will look to target those away, especially given that we're not expecting them to get a power bot lane. Corki going to be banned away. I wonder if they consider a Caitlyn ban. We don't really see much of it here in the LEC. Maybe Draven is something that they would consider getting rid of, but again, I don't love Draven with Maokai drafts.
I think Ezreal is okay as well. Doesn't give you as much upfront damage, but a bit of safety means you don't have to focus down towards that bottom lane early. Carzzy, a very comfortable Ezreal player as well, did a lot of good stuff on that back in winter. Tristana is the ban, getting rid of some of those AD mids, trying to pinch that pool for Humanoid. Lucian really the one that comes to mind next up, but not a pick that we see too much of or see perform too well in the mid lane right now.
Oh, they're going to choose to ban away the Rel, so they're likely looking at a Leona first pick. They could also... Are they thinking of maybe a Braum as well? Could be good into the Maokai. We'll wait and see. It depends how much engage they feel like they need on the side of Fnatic. Carzzy will be forced to play an AD carry that he hasn't played so far this split. Varus, Corki, and Kalista is what he's shown us in his 2 series of the split. And all of those are taken away. So Ezreal does seem to be the likely choice.
You see the Sylas ban here as well from Vitality, realizing we picked our mid. We don't want to give Sylas Maokai ultimate as well. If we want to go towards the Alistar with the red 5, the final pick of the draft, you could have that Sylas. It is instead going to be Humanoid on Aurelion Sol. Been a while since we've seen him pick up this champion. Been a while since we've seen it in the LEC as well. I'll find out exactly how long it's been. He did play it once in winter, but before that only 4 times. His 3-2 all-time on the massive Galaxy Dragon, the Stargazer, I guess, in mid lane.
Yeah, it looks like that we haven't really seen any patch changes for a while, based on what I can see on Aurelion Sol. So likely just something that he's been practicing in scrims as a potential answer into the Viktor. We'll see how the matchup plays out as Vitality looking to lock in their bot lane. Sivir coming through, a nice hyper-scaling champion, fits nicely with the composition that they have. Strong front-to-back scaling opportunities. Question is, how are they going to round things out? Alistar likely to be the response to the Leona that they're probably expecting to come through from Fnatic.
I think the Silas ban really indicated to me that there was going to be an Alistar support for Nisqy. One of the two supports he's played so far, Rel and Alistar, those two picks. And he's had an okay start to his supporting career here on Vitality. I think there's a few things, especially mid-game, where he struggles. Getting experience between levels 5 and 6 when you're moving up for those second grubs as well can be a little bit of a pain point. We'll see how well he does. Renata the pick for Fnatic, so they feel like they have enough engage. They just want a bit of disengage, which does make sense into Gnar, Maokai, and the Alistar. It gives you a little bit of ability just to reset the fight and then allow the Aurelion Sol and Gwen to get to work.
Well, there's a lot of front to back on both sides, with Fnatic having slightly stronger split push threat thanks to the Gwen. You can also argue that because of Aurelion Sol's ability to move from one lane to another quickly, it's going to prove very valuable if Fnatic want to play one of those 1-3-1 styles of comp. But again, a lot of both compositions have strong scaling carries in the form of Aurelion Sol and Varus. I wonder if Upset will go for lethality in contrast to the on-hit. It might be because he's running with an on-hit Gwen. He feels that he's fine going with the lethality. We'll have to wait and see. The biggest difference, though, is the disengage tools that Renata provides will make it a lot harder for Vitality to actually start off these fights. Maokai ultimate, obviously fantastic at creating a lot of space around these neutral objectives, but Alistar, as an engage tool, kind of one of your primary engages, I would say, going to be very reliant on either finding flanks or finding flash engage, which I think is going to be difficult to pull off. So I'm excited to see how these teams face off against each other. I'm hoping for violence. I don't know how much we're going to get, given that we're seeing a Skarner versus Maokai, but it is Vitality versus Fnatic.
And the crowd here in loud voice today as we take to the Rift for the first game of this series. Looks like both teams are just going to do relatively standard lines of scrimmage. Razork and Lyncas will meet up in the jungle, spot each other out. Razork, he just backs away, chucks out a little bit of damage, but doesn't connect, whereas he did take a Bramble smash back from Lyncas, who will just want to start up on this top side jungle. I think bot is really where a lot of the action can be in the early game. Both the junglers starting on top and moving down towards that makes a lot of sense, especially with Nisqy's ability to use the Q buffer, the pulverized buffer flash, to get on top of Upset or Mikyx. If he can burn their flashes early as well, makes it a lot easier for that Maokai to gank.
You know, you can, sorry, I should say I can tell that I'm still not used to Nisqy support, because as I was looking something up in the game, I heard you mention Nisqy, and I was like, what do you mean pulverized? Like, he's a mid laner, he doesn't, but of course he's role swap to support. For those that are just joining us here in week 3, this is one of the big roster shifts that we did see coming into spring. Nisqy, formerly of SK last year, joining the Vitality roster in this support position. And I think that one of the big things that he provides is a staple consistency to the roster. It's simply because he is typically well known as a shot caller. Flash.
Going in. Looks for the pulverize. Upset getting chased out here as well as Carzzy is on the offensive. Upset down to 200 HP. Only has the cleanse and has to invest the flash, and that's what we're talking about. Burn these summoners early. Carzzy and Nisqy so far ahead. Mikyx flashes away, stops the reset from Upset as well with that ricochet.
Damn, great awareness from Vitality's bot lane of how much stronger they are if they just fully commit to the 2 versus 2. Upset going to be forced to go back to base. Both flashes were used. I'm surprised Upset didn't want to cleanse away from the Ignite. But that's it. Early advantage gain for Vitality.
A massive lead for them early on. This wave is going to crash in. Mikyx's not going to be able to hold it at all. So it's at least a couple of minions lost. Probably going to be about 4 in total for Upset after not being able to farm up any of that first wave either. And that's what I was talking about with the Alistar, right? If you go on the front foot, you can start to burn these summoners. It allows Lyncas a much easier path for that gank. One of the reasons I think Upset would have wanted to hold that cleanse for as long as possible is to get out of the Twisted Advance. But even if you get out of that, Nature's Smash, still a Bramble Smash still coming out. Alistar there for the follow-up. It's going to be a very, very tricky road for Upset and Mikyx over the next 5 minutes.
So Vitality, they have a pushing top side, they have a pushing bot side. Nako should feel very safe in this matchup as well, given that he should be aware that jungler is pathing towards the bot side of the map. Getting some nice trades still, but Oscar not doing too bad in the farm department. Meanwhile, on the bot side of the map, as you highlighted, Medic, we have to keep track of Lyncas. Will he look for an early gank? Good vision set up from Vitality already. They've dropped double control wards. They're going to spot out Razork as well. Spot lane doing a lot of work, and keep track of Czajek on the minimap. You'll notice that he's moving into the top side river. He's going to be able to drop a ward in that entrance to the river to provide more information. So Vitality with a lot of control here in this early game.
Razork has to be in this area though. Look at where that wave is. He knows he needs to help Upset and Mikyx get their minion wave underneath the tower. It can't be frozen here. Flash into the root. Bramble smash on the wrong side. Mikyx with a handshake there. Maybe caught Lyncas mid-air, allowing him to be on the top side of that Maokai, meaning that Bramble Smash didn't knock him back towards Nisqy and Carzzy.
Just double check for you, because that was a nice play from Mikyx. The fact that the flash came through, it was great awareness, because of course, as you highlighted, the Skarner being on the bot side of the map made the gank much harder to pull off. They focused down Mikyx, but yeah, the handshake comes through, moves Lyncas to a position that means that when the Bramble Smash actually comes through, it knocks Mikyx away to safety. So great reactive play there from Mikyx.
It was just after the Twisted Advance had landed. I think Lyncas tried to step up above him and then he was pulled back down. Obviously not happening mid-air through that Twisted Advance as you are untargetable. Humanoid going in, just trying to put some damage down onto Czajek. Both the mid laners relatively even. Haven't seen a huge amount of Aurelion Sol recently, so just as a reminder, kit. Well, and Nisqy going in. Yeah, the kit mostly revolves around chucking out that Dream Breath, making sure you have the Singularity out to get as many stacks as possible early. When you get your ultimate, if you get 75 stacks after acquiring it through skilling it up, you get an upgraded version of it as Nisqy goes in once again onto Upset. He's got the cleanse. Trample will get the stun. There's the cleanse away. Now the bailout as well for Upset. And Nisqy's bitten off more than he can chew. Upset. Oh, he doesn't see it because of the control ward. Nisqy with the perfect positioning to stay out of vision there. Mikyx getting chased down as well. The shield won't be enough. Carzzy and Nisqy find a double in the 2v2. Czajek has to flash away from the mid lane as Razork was coming in with Ishtal's impact.
I was not expecting Carzzy and Nisqy to get the better of Upset and Mikyx in the bot lane 2 versus 2, especially in this matchup. But their aggression is paying off beautifully. The patience from Carzzy in that play as well was fantastic, as he waited for the bailout, knowing that even if it does go through, it doesn't matter, because he doesn't want to proc it. Even if he gets that kill onto Nisqy, it would be way worse if he comes back with way more HP. So they're guaranteed to get a 1-for-1 here. And again, you'll notice Carzzy, he stops hitting Upset. He doesn't want to proc the bailout at the risk of him actually getting that kill. They lose vision because the control ward wasn't cleared out earlier, even though Razork was in the area, allowing Nisqy to move into the fog of war, avoid losing his life, and Carzzy to pick up another.
Huge from the Vitality bot lane. Needlework coming out from Oscarinin. Nako's going to have to flash away. And just to emphasize, like, oh, Oscar with a good flash away from the wall. And Nako is going to go into mini form, but snip goes Oscarinin. This is now coming across. Doesn't have the flash, but Oscar doesn't have a flash of his own either. He's just going to get chased out. In the end, it's a solo bolo for the Gnar in the top lane. Lyncas will go back to the grubs, while Razork is going to take away the Drake.
And so you can see why my assessment of Vitality coming into this series was one of, I'm not really sure how to judge Vitality.
Understandably.
Because they go from having a strong week 1 to losing to Rogue in week 2, and now here in game 1 of this best of 3, they're just outplaying Fnatic individually across the board.
They really are. Just, as you say, surprised by how much presence the Vitality bot lane has had. It all comes back to that level 1, burning the flashes early. Upset has only died 6 times this split, and 4 of those were in a game versus SK. So to get 2 2v2 kills against the Fnatic bot lane is impressive stuff so far from Vitality. A 1,600 gold lead, their advantage for how they played this early game. They get the piece of warfare as well. They get 3 grubs that were exchanged for Fnatic's first Drake.
The Sivir is being accelerated as well, which is huge for Vitality, given that they want to be able to play that front to back. There's, well, I wanted to say there's not a huge amount of backline threat for Sivir, which sometimes she can be concerned about when playing against dive comps, but against a composition like this, Gwen is going to be her biggest threat, but she's got a lot of great peel, thanks to Alistar by her side, and the spell she's going to offer some value too. Carzzy really being set up for success. We'll see how Fnatic turn this game around, and something we've been talking about as well early on is Vitality's great vision control, and they're continuing that. They're doing a good job of keeping an eye on where Razork is on the map, which gives Nako a lot of space to play how he wants to on the top side of the map, but also they can anticipate where he's looking to make gank happen.
Yeah, just to stress that vision control as well. You saw how Humanoid actually going in for the fight. They get the Ishtal's impact back onto Czajek. Doesn't have the flash. and Czajek will be felled. Mikyx takes the kill. But I was going to say Czajek shouldn't die to this because they had vision on the Razor Peaks and then a control ward in the river. But he does end up getting caught out in the end. Nisqy now backing on a ward of his own. Has hit that level 6, so has the unbreakable will to escape any CC. Needlework's coming out from Oscarinin. Nako's dodged the first two, and Oscarinin realizes perhaps I don't want to continue this trade. He's cleared out a little bit of the minion wave. Nako getting up towards that Mega, but Oscar just forced back to his tower.
That wave is now very awkward though, because he used the needlework on the whole wave. You can see how he's just going to lose a whole wave, and it's going to slow push towards Nako, so he can just set up a freeze if he wants to. Oscarinin's going to be forced to TP back towards top lane. Nako doesn't have to. He can just hold the wave here for as long as he wants, as his TP is going to be coming back up soon. So definitely a huge misplay in terms of the 1v1 there coming through from Oscar. And again, just to highlight how Vitality are finding these individual advantages right now.
It's just that coin flip you keep talking about. The consistent inconsistency from both these teams. Because Nako has games like this on the Gnar, where he's sidestepping all the needleworks, he's managing to get damage, he's getting solo kills in the top lane, and then he picks Yasuo with the next game and goes 1-9. And it's just like, guys, some consistency, please, throughout this game, as Razork consistently looking towards this mid lane. Czajek doesn't have the flash, will put down the gravity well, does get the stun onto Razork, flashes away. Razork still chasing him down with that upheaval, but Czajek has so much movement speed through the Siphon power and the phase rush, he'll get himself out.
The flash even committed by Razork. They couldn't connect the ultimate, which means that he's able to get away to safety. Didn't even have to use the flash, I mean, of course, still on cooldown. But Vitality, they're just doing a great job of weathering the early game pressure from Razork through early vision. Of course, Czajek did still fall prey to that earlier gank. But the best thing about that play is the kill went over to Mikyx.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like Humanoid built up a big advantage. You can see in terms of the gold, there's only a 15 gold difference between the two mid laners.
Nisqy here holding the wave as well for Czajek as he's going to come back towards. 40 seconds on the second grubs of the game as Lyncas paths up towards that top side once again.
Yeah, and I want to draw our attention to the minimap here, because what you'll notice is as things are happening across the boards, Sivir is actually not fast pushing the bot lane because they're waiting for information as to where everyone is. It looks like now Carzzy's going to start the push, and the thing is that Razork has actually just gone back to base to purchase his first item. This means that Vitality is in a much better position map-wise to set up for these first grubs. The biggest difference though is Upset having control over the mid wave means that he's going to get that push, will have some access, but again, it's not really an area they can afford to enter because they don't have their jungler present just yet.
Vitality will really want this next set of grubs, having got the first 3 a few moments ago. Obviously, Drake is a possible trade, but that's still a minute away from spawning. Lyncas has his top laner TPing back to the top lane. Razork spotted out, as you say. Nako can keep Oscarinin and Razork at bay for now. Mikyx's trying to come in from the side as well, but Nisqy is shadowing. Upset's on his way across, but Carzzy's already here as well. Lyncas is going to be chunked out just a little bit. Nako trying to catch that wave. They go in onto Mikyx. TP coming out from Humanoid, counter TP as well from Czajek, but he's going to be in the middle of Fnatic. Hostile takeover takes him away for the moment. Nako trying to build up that Mega Gnar, and Czajek's on the chase. It starts impact, knocks Lyncas into the wall. Oscarin's going to get a kill, but he will see Mikyx fall in front of his face. Jungler for support so far. It's a breath of light from Humanoid, keeps people at bay. The wallop from Nako has the Gnar here as well. Will lock Razork against the wall, and the Ishtar's impact will have no impact at all. Both the junglers fall alongside Mikyx.
A big team fight win though still for Vitality as they find 2 kills for 1. It was a bit of a scrappy affair, mainly because while Vitality had control over the top side of the river, Upset and Mikyx getting the push in mid gave them access still through the mid lane. Carzzy a little late to arrive to mid means that they don't quite have the numbers to really pressure a fight. Nisqy starts this off at a numbers disadvantage as Nako tries to go and answer the top wave. The TPs then come through, and it here looks a little awkward for Vitality, but then you realize Fnatic is crumped up, which makes it really easy for the wombo combo of Vitality to do some serious work. So Fnatic immediately hit the eject button, tried to get out of harm's way, the flashes come through, and then Vitality start to chase down their prey.
Yeah, now Nako doing a really good job of not letting Razork get away at all. Chases him down, lands the wallop, and gets the CC in that causes Razork to fall. 4th grub, 5th and 6th will be secured by Vitality. Really gives Nako a lot of pushing power in that 1v1 in the top lane. And Vitality are looking to make it a 4v1. No teleports available for Fnatic. Humanoids was burnt in the last play. No wave here yet for Vitality, but they might just go for the dive with a single minion here alongside them. They get it. Lyncas handshook back. He's not going to tank any more tower shots. Must have been just out of range as that final shot come in. But this should be first tower as well for Vitality.
Clean dive from Vitality. I thought that Carzzy was actually going to head over towards mid lane and catch that wave, but Vitality want to keep their proactive streak going. They know that Razork is on the cross map looking to secure that dragon, which means that they guaranteed have numbers advantage on the top side. And Oscar, after getting solo killed in lane, and then making a few big blunders in the 1v1 matchup, falls even further behind as he falls prey to a dive.
Chain of Corruption going wide as Czajek's had his fancy feed on today. Arcane Storm as well onto Upset. He's going to chase him down and force the flash out of the Fnatic AD carry. In a 2v1, he just walks him.
Yeah, and the phase rush providing huge amounts of value there, which is ultimately what forced Upset to have to flash away. He knew that Czajek was going to get in range to be within lethal, so he has to get out of harm's way. Now, though, have a look at Nisqy. Gets the smite out from Razork. But Vitality, they're playing with nothing but confidence right now. Again, you look at the mini-map, there's no wave to play on in mid. Top has been pushed through, so they just overstack on the bot side of the map. They've brought Carzzy down, knowing that he's a point of strength for the team. The mini-wave is going to be cleared out quickly, though, by Humanoid, so maybe Vitality have overcommitted their resources, but fortunately, there aren't really that many objectives to play for on the map. Nako, his TP should be up, which means that he can always respond to that top tower if he needs to as well.
I mean, it's also about, like, if you're moving Fnatic down towards the bottom side, you can then gate them out of their jungle a little bit, so they have to take the long route round. Upset is there in time to catch the wave. Vitality deciding not to extend the plate towards the mid lane tower. At the moment, their gold lead has extended to about 3,000 as an advantage. First items across the board, and Vitality are doing a really good job playing around their power points. The risk, obviously, is Humanoid and Upset will scale into the game. Upset has gone Halo Blades into lethality, so not the true-on hit that can absolutely shred later on. But Humanoid will just continue to stack throughout this game. I think it was about 200 stacks in 20 minutes, or 22 minutes is what we used to look for. At the moment, he's a little short of that, but now it becomes a lot easier to get stacks every time a minion dies in that singularity. The black hole he puts down, he's getting more and more stacks.
I want to draw your attention to the minimap once more, because Herald is going to be the objective that these teams set their sights on. Top wave has already been pushed in deep by Czajek, with Nisqy hovering for support. Fnatic have set their sights on a Nako play.
Humanoid has the skies to send. That big stun AoE ultimate. Razork looking for it as well. The Impale connects, and into the singularity goes Nako, but because of that, he had the time to flash underneath the tower. Razork trying to keep him in the middle of that E. Gave him a little bit more space than perhaps they wanted to.
I mean, that should be an uncontested Herald, and we're at the point in the game now where Upset can't contest the mid wave against Carzzy. He's going to one-shot those waves. He's already got the push in mid, even in a 1 versus 2. Razork might try and interrupt the base, but I guess Fnatic is saying we're not strong enough to fight, so we're going to have to concede the Herald. Nice focus there from Vitality. Nako doing a good job of avoiding the gank. This could very well be a tower in exchange. I see Nisqy hovering around, though.
He shouldn't be. He should walk away. The only reason you hover this is because you know the TP is going to come in. But even then, like, Razork's burnt his ultimate. Humanoid just TP back into the lane. Are they really going to go immediately for a dive onto Nako? The answer here is no. Perhaps Nisqy's hovering is what dissuaded them from that path.
But I mean, he doesn't really have much else he can do on the map, right? Like,
100%, yeah.
He's not going to contribute to Carzzy's wave clear in any way. He will lose a bit of experience, but even then, he's still almost a full level ahead of Mikyx, as Czajek completely bullying Oscar now in the 1 versus 1.
Yeah, Oscar's gone plated steel caps first as well to deal with the Nako matchup on that Gnar, so doesn't have the Merc Treads, can't really deal with the fact that Czajek is putting out a lot of magic damage with that Blackfire Torch, almost at 100 stacks himself on the Viktor.
Another upgrade has come through for him. I believe that is his... I don't know why I'm checking, like I can't tell.
They're much harder to tell now.
He has more stacks, which means that that's a second upgrade.
Yes, yeah, he's got a couple.
It used to be very obvious because his skills would completely change color.
Yes, but now they're just all Hexy. Hexy-techy.
Oh, they're all just Hexy.
They even changed the names. It's not Chaos Ray anymore, it's Hextech Ray. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
And the storm is called Arcane Storm.
It's be Chaos Storm.
Chaos Storm, yeah. It's no longer chaotic, but perhaps Nisqy being in this position is a little bit chaotic for Vitality. He's going to pop his ultimate, that Unbreakable Will, and walk his way out. Meanwhile, Nako gets the wall up into the Gnar against the wall. The needle works from Oscarinin. He did a bit of damage, but there's no tower here to protect him anymore. The second set of needle works won't be enough. Oscarinin knocked into the wall by Nisqy, knocked up by him as well, and then stunned. Lyncas takes the kill. Meanwhile, Razork's looking for something in the mid lane. We'll get that Ishtal's impact back. Upset eats the Arcane Storm, needs to hit the piercing arrow. Czajek flashes it to get himself to safety.
The phase rush proving huge value in the mid lane, as so many gank attempts have been thrown towards Czajek. Unfortunately, Oscarinin wasn't able to survive like Czajek was on the bot side of the map. Another tower is secured, and it feels like that Fnatic is just very quickly running out of options. The way in which they fight back against Vitality, like, it's a very difficult one, because when you think about how front to back they want their composition to be, given how far behind Oscar is right now, Vitality should be able to steamroll any fight that they want to force.
They were like, Fnatic want to play a fight around this Drake, at least don't want to give it to Vitality for free. Nako about half a Mega Gnar bar. Humanoid still holding on to that upgraded ultimate, very likely for this dragon fight. The Skies Descend does a huge amount of damage, has that knock up in it too, but can be pretty difficult to really use appropriately. The Rift Tower charging in. Fnatic will just clear out that mid wave and give up all pressure around the dragon for now. Dragon's gone. Yeah.
Flawless control over both bot and mid. Good pushing waves. Top now going to be responded by Humanoid, but I guess the saving grace from Fnatic is that they have been able to get 2 dragons of their own. Yep. Which means that they're not really at risk of a soul point. But Vitality is going to start those stacks. And Arakan going to be soon on its way. Vitality playing the slow and steady approach. Their next main objective will be to try and secure this mid tower. And the way they do that is they're probably going to look to try and play through bots. So you get deep push into bot lane, you use that push to get control over the enemy bot side jungle, you set up good vision, you force your opponents to respond to your threat on the bot side, and that then leaves your mid lane tower exposed. They can of course do the same play just on the top side of the map, but it's kind of dealer's choice.
We'll see how they decide to play it. Razork having to smite away the Scuttle Crab there, otherwise I think Nisqy would have been headbutting and pulverizing and hoping that 150 damage that was needed. Nako in the bot side, trading into Oscarinin. Razork is going to finish his recall. Nisqy's trying to look for that deep vision, and although the first 10-12 minutes of this game were quite explosive, since then it's been much more methodical from Vitality. They're just playing around their winning lanes, they're making sure mid is constantly shoved in, they're placing this deep vision, and then allowing that side of the map to step up. Carzzy knows he's relatively safe here, because anyone who's coming at him is coming through the lane. Oscarinin here, trying to snip through Nako, still gets one up. Nako throws a house into him and slams him against the turret. Now needs to dodge to the side. The needle work healing off Oscarinin, an absolute delight. Upstairs on his way across. Now Nako trying to flash over him, but Oscarinin will secure the kill with a flash of his own.
So the thing about Gwen is she's a champion that you really can't afford to underestimate at any point in the game. Her 1v1 ability is truly exceptional, and that was a great example of it. So Nako making a significant misplay that could bring Oscar back into this game.
Nako just a little bit short in terms of lead as well. You can see Oscarinin was able to get so much gold back in his pockets. It's only 150 between the two top laners now. Oscarinin will continue to push through bot. Carzzy and Nisqy perhaps looking for upset here. There's the flash. Headbutt pulverized immediately onto Otse, who has to flash away. Cleanse is out of the CC and the bailout put on him as well. This should be the mid tower to Vitality. Humanoid flew across but wasn't able to defend in time. That would be the turret falling. 3rd of the game for Vitality.
Nice objective secure, but Vitality need to be careful, because a team like Fnatic, they will look for these opportunities to punish you when you misplay. Nako, I think his biggest mistake was he heavily committed to the fight, and then he showed hesitation. Yeah. Remember when he threw that second house at Oscar, he actually chose not to go and pick it up again, and I think that indecisiveness was what cost him in the ultimate 1v1. I think he realized in that moment he didn't actually have enough damage to win anymore, so he tried to cut his losses and escape. But at that point, like, it's already too late.
And it becomes even harder now to win in that isolated 1v1 unless you have a little bit of poke from range, because Oscarinin has the Nash's Tooth and the Rift Maker at his disposal now. Rylai is complete for Humanoid as well. Upset's finished his Mana Mune, stacking that up to the Mirror Mana. On the other side, Carzzy is on his way to his 3rd item, has the Yuntal and the Navori Quick Blades, FLICKR Blades, sorry. Remembering the name change from whenever it was. I remember when it was the 3 arrow or the 3 blades on the purple background as opposed to the spinning disc thing that we have now.
Honestly, AD carry itemization is my weakest front, because I think that they all basically build the same thing every game anyway.
Yeah, they do.
AD carries.
And then something they complain. Ooh, Lyncas looking for Oscarinin, trying to make this a 2v1. It will be for the moment. Nature's Grass coming out as well, as Razork has the flank of the TPs coming out from Humanoid. Counter TP invested by Czajek. Vitality beginning to collapse. Nisqy's going all the way around here. Lyncas flashing forward for Razork. They'll gnar him into the wall, and he's locked up, stunned up, and taken out. Nisqy gets the knock up onto Oscarinin. Look for that pulverize as well into the trample for the CC follow-up. Czajek coming across to try and get the damage down onto Oscar, who drew the hallowed mist. Can't send a prayer up to survive. Nako gets the kill, 2-0 for Vitality.
A fantastic collapse comes through from Vitality as what seems to be a proactive play initially to try and find a pick onto Oscar, bringing Lyncas into the play to create numbers advantage. Fnatic was actually able to respond. The problem is Vitality then brought even more members. So here we see the play start. The TP comes through from Fnatic, and they're saying, hey, we can turn this play in our favor. You look at the mini-map, though, and the collapse is coming through first from Vitality. The Sivir wave clear proving extremely valuable when it comes to these rotations. It means that the flash commitment comes through from Lyncas. He locks down Razork, and then the chase comes through onto Oscar as well.
Also, the movement speed coming out of the On the Hunt from Sivir. As soon as Carzzy and Nisqy went out of vision in mid lane, they popped that ultimate. They're like, we are going bot, we are sprinting. You get 25% bonus movement speed, I want to say, at level 2. So they could just run down there as quickly as possible. And although Vitality did get 2 kills and they burnt Humanoid's TP, Czajek burnt his as well, there was no real objective to play for other than those kills, so they do just continue to push in these waves. Still about a 3,500 gold lead for them. Next objective is that Cloud Drake. Would be soul point for Fnatic if they can somehow sneak it away. But Vitality trying to gain control of the river right now. Oscarinin going to get chased out by Nako. Lyncas starting up the Drake. Razork on that front line. Astral Flight in by Humanoid. Here it comes. The skies descend. And although Czajek will fall first, Humanoid falls second. Nako with a Gnar into the wall, and Carzzy begins to open up. Mikyx getting chased down towards the bottom side. A good flash pulverize from Nisqy to make sure that Oscarinin can't kill off his AD carry. And Carzzy survives through it all. Vitality, they keep 4 alive. They only lose 1. They take 2 out from Fnatic, and with their jungler still alive, it looks like they're going to turn their eyes towards the Drake. Nako has the teleport, so he's going to base and then can TP back in.
Overall, that was a great engage from Fnatic, but I'm shocked that Humanoid died just as quickly as Czajek did. I want to keep track of what happened to Humanoid here, because the ultimate comes through from the Aurelion Sol. Oh, Nako just sets his sights on him, and the Chaos Storm gets dropped as well, so credit to Czajek. Still providing value, even though he is the first to fall in the fight. Ends up being a 1-for-1. The Locket proving a huge amount of value, providing all those extra shields. And then Oscar setting his sights on trying to get the kill onto Carzzy. He does get the flash out from the AD carry, but he doesn't quite have the damage, meaning that Carzzy can turn it around and get that kill.
I don't know if Mikyx had his ultimate for that fight. Looking at the spectator client, it looked like the cooldown was just coming up as the fight finished, but sometimes the spectator client can be a little bit messy.
I mean, he still has it.
He has it now, and we have the Chain of Corruption, so it looks like neither of those were used, but I don't know if they were up and not used or whether they were coming off cooldown. Someone who has access to pausing and rewinding can look at it. I wasn't saying you, I meant someone at home, because it doesn't really matter that much, right? I think they used their ultimates beforehand. Anyway, Vitality now, still with only about a 3,500 gold lead, but they have got their second Cloud Drake of the game. Mikyx didn't have
Varus
ultimate.
did ulti in the fight.
All right, well that makes sense.
That cooldown is just insanely low.
It is very short, especially when you have a bunch of ability haste as well. The next
Actually,
objective,
Renata ultimate would have been massive in that fight.
It would have been really good, yeah, which is why I was wondering why we didn't see it come out.
Uncoordinated when forcing fights.
No, it would never happen, Vedi.
Flying around ultis.
Never. It was like 5 seconds away as well at the end. Vitality seemed much more coordinated team overall as they look for the engage. Hostile takeover coming out. Carzzy solo. TP coming out from Oscarinin. He looks for the chase, goes in with a needlework, and he will snip Carzzy down. Nako coming in from the side. The Impale just short. The Gnar back only catches Oscarinin. And onto Razork. Oscarinin falls. Mikyx falling low as well. Razork's on the backline now, and Czajek has to flash away. Arcane Storm doesn't chase Mikyx down. The Liandry's tick won't be enough to kill him off. 31 HP. More than enough for the Renata. The re-engage, though, from Fnatic, they're going to look for a little bit more. Ishtal's impact. Razork going onto that front like Czajek having to flash away. Upset chases him down. And Lyncas is next up. Burned by the breath of life. Upset takes the kill, and Fnatic now with 4 players still alive somehow will turn their eyes to the Baron.
And just like that, Vitality throw it all away. Mikyx's ultimate was huge in this play. Comes through onto the full engage, coming through from Vitality to try and lock down Mikyx, but it was too much of an overcommitment. Carzzy, the main carry of the team, gets shut down right from the start. Nako tries to make a return re-engage happen, but they only get a single pick. And while Oscar does fall, it's not quite enough to win them the fight. Fnatic then, realizing that they can turn this into another re-engage, finds another pick onto Czajek, converts it into kill onto a Lyncas, and they get the Baron to boot.
Huge from Mikyx as well. Use the handshake as Carzzy just burns. Used as a spell shoot at the final moment. But yeah, Mikyx used the handshake early, saw the spell shoot, and was like, okay, Carzzy's just running straight into me now. Hostile takeover locks him in place. And now Fnatic's trying to lock Vitality out of this game. The gold swings in their favor. A 2k lead now as Oscarinin pushes through bot. They'll take the tier 2 in mid. They can turn their eyes towards the jungle. There's a red buff. There's some razor beaks and some krugs that they can gobble up and force Lyncas and Vitality back.
We haven't talked about it much, but Humanoid has become monstrously
fed. It's huge. 350 stacks as well.
He's basically 2 levels up on Czajek as well. He is terrifying with this Aurelion Sol.
It's the ability as well just to catch a wave in the side lane, then astral flight back towards your team. He's currently catching Oscarinin. Catching Nako up in that top side. Has the teleport if a fight does erupt. 3 items complete as well on his way to his 4th, likely a Void Staff or a Crypt Bloom, depending on where he wants to take that Blighted Jewel. Upset as well, having only died in that 2v2 in lane. He is so consistent at keeping himself safe and putting out quite a lot of damage as the game goes on. Fnatic now in the driver's seat of this match. Something 5 minutes ago I really did not expect.
It's crazy how a single play can just completely flip a game. Vitality had such a commanding early game performance, and then it was just a single overforce onto Mikyx. And you saw how powerful that Renata ultimate can be. And I'm shocked that Vitality tried so hard to force it onto the Renata, of all people. Like, you think, oh, we get a pick onto Renata, we can immediately convert it into a Baron, but they actually committed so many resources onto a support that it ended up paying them dearly in an attempt to make that play happen. Now Vitality, I want to say that the game has been equalized, but it hasn't. Now the game is firmly in Fnatic's control. They have a healthy gold lead. We already talked about how strong Humanoid is. Upset completing his 3rd itemization as well, pretty much catching up to Carzzy. There was a 1.2k gold lead in top lane. There was a 1.1k gold lead between the AD carries. That's all gone. Completely disappeared.
2,000 gold lead for Humanoid, who has just got that Void Staff. There's some magic resist on Vitality's side. You see, like, Wit's End. You've got the Kanik Rukun as well for Lyncas. Dragon begun by Oscarinin, but he can solo that. So Vitality were thinking, well, if Fnatic overinvest, put a few more players down towards bottom to get that Dragon, we can just take away the Artican, but that is not an option for them right now. Fnatic are checking the boxes, making sure nothing can be done underneath their noses. And they continue to grow in strength. Vitality aren't out. It is only 3,000. You know, we talk about it. It's like a 20th of one of the team's golds in total. It's not a massive deal, but it really feels like the momentum has firmly swung into Fnatic's favor.
Yeah, and momentum is a pretty interesting thing because it's very much a mental state on your perception of how the game is going. And right now, it feels as though Fnatic is the one that's moving around the map. They're the one that's pushing those waves down. They're the ones that's proactively setting up the vision. And Vitality is reacting. However, that can shift very quickly because the reality is that this Sivir has 3 items with a Last Whisper as well. And as long as Vitality play the fight properly, there's no reason why they can't win a fight. And even though Humanoid is very strong, it's a question of whether or not he can single-handedly carry a team fight. The biggest difference is, of course, he is monstrously further ahead than that of Czajek, but that might not matter as long as Carzzy is free to do what he needs to do.
Talk about the 400 CS Sivir power spike so often. I think that's been accelerated quite a bit recently. As Ishtar's impact perfectly played from Razork, and he finds the double impale into the skies. Descend. Carzzy knocked up, has the flash, just about getting to safety. Nisqy won't have that same luxury. Carzzy's going to be chased down by Oscarinin. Snip, snip, it's time for your haircut, Carzzy, as he dodges towards the top. Razork takes him out, a good handshake as well from Mikyx. Czajek and Lyncas have to flash away. Oscarinin will dash out of the tower range. The piercing arrow not connecting from Upset, but Carzzy and Nisqy caught out by Razork's quick reflexes.
Another nice punish comes through from Fnatic, and they should be able to secure the Atakan off the back of this. We talked about how Carzzy needs the space in order to dish out damage, but we look at the positioning of Vitality here. They think that they've caught out Razork. Quick reactions from Razork, locks up Nisqy against the wall, and then the ulti from Humanoid does massive work. Carzzy is immediately forced to burn all of his summoner spells, trying to run away to safety. But with the collapse coming through from the rest of Fnatic, there's nowhere left for him to go.
And that was sharp from Razork. Catching a cow, a bull out of midair.
Yeah.
I don't think many people could do that. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think a single Scorpion on Earth could do that.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I would completely agree with that statement. And props to Razork.
Yeah, good job. Once again, breaking barriers as a player.
Defining what it means to be a jungler.
It really is. Baron up in 6 seconds time. That's why Fnatic are hugging the top side of the mid lane. It looks like it's going to be a 5v5 as once again Carzzy almost caught unaware. The hostile takeover coming out. A three-man impale. And Oscar's here to sink in the needles. The combination from Fnatic, they just get onto the backline. A single spell shield, not enough for Carzzy to ever survive.
It's just impossible for this Sivir to play. We talked about how if you have the front line, then it should be easy for you to play that front to back, but they ignore the front line completely. A star falls from the sky, the Renata ultimate opens up the pathway for them, and then Oscar and Razork set their sights on Carzzy, and with him gone, there's nothing left for Vitality to rely on.
And they just do not have the damage. Czajek yet to get towards that third completed item. Did go for a Seeker, so delayed his Rabadons, but you can see him grasping for it right now. Still a little bit short. Baron secured for Fnatic. And now a 7,900 thousand gold lead. Carzzy uses a spell shield to dodge the stun from the Aurelion Sol ultimate, but then it's like, okay, hostile takeover and the impale. You can't spell shield that.
It was beautifully well played.
I can get the Sivir, guys. Sivir. Oh, I got 3 of them. They're all dead.
Very nice play from Razork, and just a great team effort as well. Good coordination, well executed, and Fnatic, they've held strong. We said it earlier, though, it's a problem with playing against a team like Fnatic. It doesn't matter how far ahead you get. If you don't keep that momentum going, the moment you make a mistake, you get punished for it. Lyncas now very deep, looking for a flank play.
I think he was spotted out by a Farsight alteration as he went behind into the alcove. Alcove Gaming, not even once, chaps, not even once. Nisqy caught out as well by Oscarinin. Nako's going to gnar Oscar into the wall. Carzzy begins to open up, and you can see how quickly people fall in front of him, but Carzzy falls equally as fast. Nisqy trying to get onto that backline, but he doesn't really have the follow-up. Nako trying to do everything he can. Upset with the cleanse and the Mikyx to get himself to safety. Razork now having to deal with Czajek. Bail out onto upsets. Enough to bring him back to life. Czajek running for the hills. Tries to kill off Mikyx, or tries to do a little bit of damage at least. Gravity Well going down the tower, following it. Good damage with the Hextech raise, but Upset finds his mark. William Tell in the flesh, it seems, is Upset 9-1-7 now on this Varus.
A chaotic fight that still goes the way of Fnatic. Oscar dropping immediately, but remember that only turns it into a 4 versus 4. The bailout proving so valuable as well on the back end of that fight to help keep Upset alive. And Mikyx, even though he fell short in the laning phase, he has proved instrumental in these team fights. 1, 2, and 17 involved in 18 of the team's 19 kills. Lyncas, this is where he tried to make the deep flank happen. He was trying to make some sneaky out. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh no, you hate to see it. He thinks he's setting up a trap, but it is he who has walked into a trap of his own. We begin the fight, and Oscar feeling very confident with the support of his team, but he still gets melted by Carzzy. He's able to do a lot of damage though, but the Varus Q finding the pick onto Carzzy on the back end. And again, keep your eye on Mikyx here. His handshakes, the ultis, used at crucial times to help protect his team. The bailout going to come through right here to help keep Upset alive. And then it converts into a 1-team fight. An ace even.
It really is. Just impressive stuff from Mikyx, impressive stuff from Fnatic to bounce back in this game. Vitality definitely in the driver's seat for the first while. Now 40 minutes in. Fnatic are the ones knocking on these inhibitors. They'll take the top one, inhibitors tower at least. 10,000 gold the lead for them as the Nature's Glass comes out and Razork should be able to tank this. Misses the Impale though. Nako there with the wall of follow-up. Razork flashes away. Hostile takeover invested. So Fnatic have to use those ultimates to get away, including Razork's flash and his Impale. They'll still take the inhibitor. Vitality invested on the hunt. The Nature's Grasp and that Gnar. Didn't burn those summoners to get in.
They're still strong enough though with the Maokai ultimate gone. I don't think Fnatic really have a lot they need to be scared of. They're gonna set their sights on the next inhibitor. Oscar still with the ulti and flash available.
Nisqy trying to burn stuff here. Lyncas is going to look for the flash. Nisqy's going to get slammed into that wall with the Ishtar's impact. Flash with the advance onto Humanoid, but again the Mikyx from Mikyx just in time. Nisqy surviving. Carzzy's going to pick up Oscarinin. This is getting chased down by this Aurelion Sol. Mikyx falling low though as Lyncas is eventually felled. He goes Timber. Razork in again. The skies descend and the shockwave rings through Vitality. Nako tried to kill off Humanoid, but he could not get close enough.
Penta denied as Upset secures that kill. Carzzy, the last man standing. Does he have the wave flip?
I think the answer's going to be possibly if he finds 3! Humanoid almost dies to the tower. How long on the rest of Vitality? Well, Carzzy did everything he could, but 3 is not enough. He needed to play Jhin, he needed to find 4. So I think with 15 seconds left on Lyncas and the same on Nisqy, Humanoid should be able to claim game 1 for Fnatic. Maybe?
And Lyncas is alive in 3 seconds. This is very slow.
Can Lyncas clear the wave in time is the question. TP comes out. There's no way.
Humanoid's got to run.
Yeah, Oscar's just going to TP in, pop down the Hallowed Mist, and then snip, snip. Flashes, snip, done, 50G. All Oscar. Well played, Fnatic. What a comeback.
I love how in the alt chat at the end, Razork typed, OMG, you got 3.
Carzzy then did thank him for that, so it's very kind of him.
Nicely done.